Power rankings. We are just a few days away from opening day. It is approaching quick, and it feels like there's no better time for me to drop my power rankings for the upcoming 2021 Major League Baseball season. Now, this is something that I'm going to be looking to do probably on a monthly basis. Check in with you guys, give you power rankings, give you my thoughts and opinions on what's going on in Major League Baseball every day, but also a little recap every month of what's going on and who the best teams are. So today, we're doing my preseason power rankings going into the 2021 season. Highly contested, I'm sure. A little controversial, but I think that these rankings are probably some of the best that I've ever done. So as always, if you guys do enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like on it. Power rankings always take a lot of time, so it does help me when you drop a like and support the channel. Another way to help support the channel is click that subscribe button. If it's red, you're not subbed. You need to click that sub button, join the team. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know what picks you agree with or disagree with, as well as feel free to drop your power rankings. Make sure you drop me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and the podcast channel. Links, as always, are in the description down below. And today, I've got an amazing sponsor that I want to shout out. You guys probably know him well. DraftKings, the one-day leader in fantasy sports, is putting you in the center of the action with the shot to get your share of $1 million worth of prizes during this opening day week in Major League Baseball. When I'm looking to play one-day fantasy sports, I'm going to DraftKings. It's the best app. It's the best website. Whether you're using it on your phone or on the computer, it is going to be the place for you. And again, have I told you about the millions of dollars worth of prizes this week? There's tons of baseball one-day fantasy contests that you can enter right now, and you have a shot to win millions in prizes. So here's how you play in case you don't know how to know, and it's really easy. DraftKings makes it simple. You draft 10 players to your team. Each player has an assigned value, and when you make your lineup, you cannot have this value exceed $50,000. You rack up as many points for hits, walks, runs, strikeouts, home runs, innings pitched, and more. For full rules and scoring, you can check out the link in the description down below to learn more. When you sign up, use the promo code GiraffeNeckMark to get a shot at winning your share of millions of dollars worth of prizes throughout this week. So make sure you click the link in the description, use promo code GiraffeNeckMark, and start getting involved in some one-day fantasy contests with a shot to win millions in prizes. Thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. So let's get going into these power rankings. Started off at the number 30 spot, the worst team in Major League Baseball. As much as I like a certain player on this team, the Pittsburgh Pirates are the clear and obvious worst team in baseball this season. From the offensive side of the baseball, it's pretty much Ke'Bryan Hayes, and that's about it. They have Adam Frazier, they have Kevin Newman, Brian Reynolds even, but there's not a lot to get excited about in Pittsburgh outside of Ke'Bryan Hayes and maybe Colin Moran and maybe Gregory Polanco, but then their pitching is so weak, their bullpen's weak. There just isn't a lot to be excited about right now in Pittsburgh. The rebuild process is coming. They've got a lot of young great players. You might see O'Neal Cruz get called up this year, but right now, going into the season, I think it's safe to say that the Pirates are going to be the worst team. At the number 29 spot, we're going to the American League to talk about the Texas Rangers, who are the clear and obvious worst team in that league. The Rangers are so bad. You know you're in trouble when you're going into the season with your ace being Kyle Gibson. It's not that Kyle Gibson's a bad pitcher. It's just he's probably a 4 or 5 starter on most teams, and he's going in as the opening day starter as the ace for Texas. They traded Lance Lynn, grabbed Dane Dunning. He's going to be a nice addition for youth, and Joey Gallo is a really solid player. Ronald Guzman's been hitting the ball well. They have some young guys coming. Sam Huff, Leody Taveras. But right now for this Rangers team, they are in a rebuilding process, and it's very obvious with their roster that they're putting out there in 2021. This is just not a great team. I don't expect a lot of winning from them. Even with an addition like David Dahl, just not strong. Next up, coming in at the number 28 position, the Colorado Rockies in the National League West. For a team that was already considered to be one of the worst, when you lose Nolan Arenado, who is one of the better players in Major League Baseball and was definitely one of the better players on your team, it's not going to help your rankings. The Rockies just struggle from every standpoint possible, even in Coors. Their offense isn't one of the best. It's Trevor Story and Charlie Blackmon now. The rest of those positions are a bit of question marks. And from the pitching side, German Marquez is great, but that's pretty much where the story ends. There isn't a lot of depth in the bullpen. There isn't a lot of depth in the starting rotation. The pitching has been abysmal. German Marquez is the only bright spot. It's really hard to get excited about this Colorado Rockies team, and I have them coming in at number 28. At number 27, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the Orioles are a team that I'm optimistic about this year. They've been doing a lot of great things on the pitching side so far in spring training that is going to translate into the regular season. They've adopted a bit of the Houston Astros pitching techniques, and they're getting more velo, they're getting better spin rate, they're getting better pitchers out of guys that they've already had in their roster. And that pitching this year is going to surprise some people despite not having any big names. On the offensive side, you got Trey Mancini, you got Anthony Santander, who's looked really solid, but otherwise, there's not a lot to get excited about. This team is still far away from being very competitive, and And going into the season right now, without Adley Rushman and some of their other top prospects up, I just can't put them higher than 27. But this is an Orioles team that has things to look forward to. Number 26, going to the AL Central, Detroit Tigers. Now, I know I had the Tigers finishing not in last place in that division, and some of these teams may not be as high up as I had them ranked in the division for my season rankings. The Tigers are one of them. I think the Tigers are a team that's going to get better as the season goes on, but right now on paper, they're one of the weaker teams. AJ Hinch is a great manager. I think he's going to be able to help lead them into that rebuilding process, into some winning seasons. They've got great young pitching coming up in Casey Mize, Tariq Skubal, and Matt Manning. You got Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, and then you've also got Willie Castro, who's going to be that core with guys like Jonathan Scope, Isaac Paredes, Nomar Mazara got added, Robbie Grossman, Jacoby Jones has been hitting well, Akil Baddoo. I like what Detroit is trying to do over there. They're not a good team just yet, but I think by adding these young guys to their roster as the season goes on, it is 100% going to help them improve. But right now they're 26th. Getting the top 25 started at the number 25 spot, the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got some bad news about Zach Gallen. Has a little bit of a strain going on. Not sure how much time he's necessarily going to miss, whether or not it's going to be significant or it's just going to be like maybe a few starts, but you hate to see it, especially because it came from hitting. Zach Gallen's one of their better players on the team. Of course, you still have Ketel Marte, who's a really solid player. Expect a bounce back season from him. I love Eduardo Escobar. I think he's a great hitter. Cole Calhoun's hitting for power. David Peralta's still out there in the outfield. And even a guy like Josh Rojas has been lighting it up this spring training that can help give some flexibility at positions to add to Christian Walker at first base. But the pitching, of course, is going to be a problem. Outside of Zach Gallen, a lot of question marks. Madison Bumgarner coming back from injury wasn't great last year. Luke Weaver, Merrill Kelly, and the bullpen's atrocious. Diamondbacks 25th. A team that I'm excited about, but they're going to start a little bit low this year. At number 24, the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners, like the Tigers, are going to be a team that I think improves as the season goes on. Kelenich's going to get the call up at some point. Logan Gilbert's going to get the call up at some point. They have a lot of great young talent that's coming. It's just not there yet. Taylor Trammell's looked great this spring. Kyle Lewis coming off a Rookie of the Year season. Kyle Seager's still there. Evan White's going to get better. Dylan Moore's a solid little second baseman. And even getting Mitch Haniger back is going to be huge. Now on the rotation side, it's weak. Marco Gonzalez, that's kind of your guy, and Justin Dunn. And then in the bullpen, while there aren't big names, they have a lot of arms that have good stuff and could be producing to maybe be trade pieces at the deadline. Seattle Mariners, sneaky team this year, but right now at the start of the season, can't go too crazy. Number 24. Number 23, we're keeping it M-related, going with the Miami Marlins of the National League East. Marlins, another team you're seeing. These are a lot of teams in the rebuilding process, but are very close to getting out of it. And we saw the Marlins make the postseason last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. You stretch the games out to a 162. It's a lot harder to really be a postseason team with the way the Marlins are built. They have a ton of great young pitching guys like Sandy Alcantara. Pablo Lopez looks like he's going to be really solid in that rotation. Sixto Sanchez is sick. Trevor Rogers. And then they have a lot of young talent coming up. On the offensive side of the baseball, it's a little lacking. Not going to lie. I like a lot of the young outfielders that they have. I love Brian Anderson. Jesus Aguilar is really good. Even Miguel Rojas has been playing well. But this is still a Marlins team that's not yet a legitimate playoff contender in my eyes, especially over 162. And that puts them right in the 23 range. Coming in at number 22, I got the Kansas City Royals. Now, I know I had the Royals finishing in last place in the AL Central, but hear me out. This is a team that I think is going to finish towards the back end of the division because they're eventually going to sell off a lot of the pieces that they have and get some big prospects back. Whit Merrifield's great. He's expendable. Jorge Soler's great. They could try and move him. Even Hunter Dozier on the contract that they signed him to is extremely team friendly. They can move him. Andrew Benintendi's there. Adalberto Mondesi. They have a lot of really good pieces, along with some interesting pitching guys, especially on the bullpen side, like a Josh Samant or even a Greg Holland. But the starting rotation just isn't there for me yet. Brad Keller as your number one, I'm a little hesitant. Kansas City Royals, though, just missing out on the top 20 at number 22. Literally just missing out on the top 20. At number 21, the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, Gabe Kapler really just, I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't think he's a very good manager, but I'll give him some credit. He's gotten a lot out of the Giants players last year in that 60-game season. The Giants on paper just don't have that strong of a team, but you do have Mike Yastrzemski, who looks like a legitimate ball player. Brandon Belt played well last year. I love me some Wilmer Flores. I like the platoon out there of Dickerson and Slater, and they have a lot of really good young talent coming, like Elliot Ramos, Joey Bart. Still got Buster Posey. I mean, this isn't a team that's going to scare you necessarily, especially from a pitching side. Bullpen, I'm not sold on it just yet. A lot of arms that are questionable and have only performed well over a short period of time. And from a starting rotation side, it's Kevin Gausman and Alex Wood, and that's kind of it. Johnny Cueto, Desclafani, not really sold. There's a lot of question marks there. Giants, not bad. They're just not good. 21. And then getting the top 20 started at the number 20 spot, I got the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati Reds, I think, are a team that could surprise a lot of people and fly up these rankings very quickly. But the reason I'm hesitant to put them higher than 20 is that bullpen. Now, Cincinnati is going to be able to just make pitchers out of nowhere. They have the driveline guys over there, and we've seen them do it in the past. So expect some names to just kind of appear out of nowhere. But I don't like ranking a team based on the idea that maybe these guys who haven't done much will all of a sudden figure it out. But also at the same time, last year offensively, they were terrible. And those guys are much better hitters than they showed. Eugenio Eugenio Suarez is great. Mike Moustakas, Nick Castellanos, Joey Votto. A guy like Jesse Winker really broke out. You might even see Jonathan India get some time this year. I like the Reds. I just can't put them much higher just yet because I need to see them prove it a little more, especially losing a guy like Bauer. While you still have Gray and Castillo, need to see a little more of the rest of the team. Number 19, AL Central, Cleveland Indians. Hard to be a team that's going to be competitive when you're the Cleveland Indians who kind of get rid of all your good players, and you got rid of Francisco Lindor this offseason for Andres Jimenez, Ahmed Rosario. Not a lot back. I mean, you got a lot of prospects, but just not a lot to help you out right now. Adding Eddie Rosario to the outfield was nice. They needed a left-handed bat. Jose Ramirez is still there, one of the best hitters in the game. Franmil Reyes has the power, but the rest of the lineup is weak. Not sold on how many runs they're going to be able to score. Pitching-wise, strong rotation. You got one of the best pitchers in baseball in Shane Bieber. Plesac, Savali, Tristan McKenzie, a lot of great young talent there. They have fantastic pitching. And then the bullpen, it's James Karinchak and kind of everybody else. So the Indians, I pumped the brakes a little bit here. I put them at 19. I'm interested to see how they play out this season, though, because the offense, that's kind of really key for them. Are they going to be able to score enough runs? At number 18, dropping down the list quite a bit, we got the Chicago Cubs. You trade Yu Darvish for a team that just didn't have a lot of pitching to begin with, you're going to drop on the rankings. Now, yes, they don't have Yu Darvish anymore, but they still have Kyle Hendricks, who's a really good starting pitcher. The rest of the rotation, though, I mean, you brought back Jake Arrieta. Can't be excited about that. And the bullpen's really bad. I mean, Craig Kimbrell's your best arm, and he's coming off a horrendous season. On the offensive side, you still have the core. Bryant, Baez, Rizzo, Contreras. You've got Happ out there now, who's looked really good. You added Jock Peterson. So the offense is still going to be pretty strong. It's just on the pitching side, they have so many questions, but I think they're going to be able to figure it out. David Ross seems like he's a pretty good manager. This is a team that's going to be competing for an NL Central crown. I don't think they're the favorites, but I don't think that they're completely out of it, and they might make some moves. I don't know. The Cubs are weird. Are they spending or are they not? Regardless, getting rid of Yu Darvish hurts their chances a lot, and it hurts their rankings. 17, the Los Angeles Angels, and this one was like so confusing to me. I don't know where to rank them, but you got Mike Trout, you got Anthony Rendon, you got Shohei Ohtani. Those three guys are really good offensive players. You add in David Fletcher, who's a nice piece. You add in Jose Iglesias, who's like another David Fletcher kind of player. First base, maybe a little Albert Pujols, maybe a little Jared Walsh. Jared Walsh hits pretty well. Justin Upton, does they have a bounce back? I mean, there's definitely a lot of questions, but offensively, they're stronger than they are on the pitching side. Pitching side, Dylan Bundy's good. Haney's like a back-end starter. Quintana's back-end starter. Cobb's back-end starter. Canning, I don't know what you're getting out of Griffin Canning, and the bullpen's bad, but I don't know. The Angels, man, like right now they're okay, but also I see them being a bad team, and that's why I didn't put them very high in my predictions, but I also know that they have some good stuff, and you got to rank them based on what's on paper, not what you think is going to happen. So 17, middle of the pack, back end of the middle. And then just missing out on the middle spot at the number 16 ranking, I'm going with the Boston Red Sox, who I think are going to be surprisingly good this year. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team necessarily, but I think they're going to be better than you expect. Offensively, they're still pretty good. While they did lose JBJ this offseason, they lost Mookie Betts last year, you still got Devers, you still got Bogarts, Chavis has been hitting the ball really well, Bobby Dahlbeck's look fantastic, Christian Vasquez is really good, Verdugo's fantastic, you got Renfroe out there, you got to call up my boy Jarren Duran, you need to start playing him. They've got some players on the offensive side, even Kike Hernandez. Pitching wise, you got Eduardo Rodriguez back, you got Evaldi, you added Garrett Richards, Martin Perez, Nick Pivetta. They could make something out of that. It's better than what we saw last year, and adding Adam Ottavino to the bullpen I think is really important. He's a legitimate reliever, something they needed. So the Red Sox, not a good team, but they are definitely right about average, and will probably surprise some people. I mean, JD Martinez, I forgot about him. He's fantastic too from the offensive side. And they have Marwin Gonzalez. Where'd they get Marwin Gonzalez? Yeah, I mean, offense, strong. Pitching, not so much. Defense, not so much. Okay, right smack in the middle at the number 15 ranking, I'm going with the 4th place Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the Phillies are a 4th place team, 100%, but if they're in the National League Central, they probably win that division. The Phillies are not good, they're average, just like my ranking says at number 15. Really good core offensively of Harper, Real Muto, Hoskins, Alec Bohm, and then you got Didi Gregorius, Gene Segura, all on the outside, but they're strong players. Andrew McCutchen, they'll be good complementary players to that core. Pitching, you got Aaron Nola, who's fantastic, Zach Wheeler, who's really good, and there's a bit of a drop-off. And the bullpen was atrocious last year. It's gotten better, but you know, going from F to D or even C minus, it's an improvement, but it's still not good. So for those reasons, I have to put the Phillies at C. I don't believe in their pitching one bit. That's always been my problem with them. They're going to score runs, but they're also going to give up a ton of runs. Not a strong pitching staff. Number 14, a little bit lower than probably where a lot of people have them, the St. Louis Cardinals. This is not a team I'm feeling particularly high on. I love the move of Nolan Arenado. I thought that was great, but I also thought that meant they were going to be a little more aggressive and maybe get a guy like Jake Odorizzi to add to that starting rotation, because the rotation's weak, and they're also relying on a lot of really, really young players to be big producers in this lineup. The guys that you can rely on are Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. Then you got Tommy Edman, who's a scrappy little player, but he's not that great at the plate. He's fine, just not really good. Paul DeYoung's extremely streaky, so what are you going to see with him? Yadi's getting old. And then the outfield of like O'Neill, Bader, Carlson. They're great young talents, but what are we going to see in 2021? And then, of course, the pitching comes up. It's Jack Flaherty in their rotation, and that's about it. Miles Michaelis, Adam Wainwright, not crazy about it. Bullpen strong, Gallegos, Reyes, Andrew Miller, Jordan Hicks. I like a lot of their arms in the bullpen, but on the rotation side, I'm not feeling great. Even like Carlos Martinez, can't get me excited about Carlos Martinez. Not anymore. At number 13, another National League Central team, the team I have to win the division, the Milwaukee Brewers. I think the Brewers are getting slept on a little bit. I think people who are doing their research are starting to realize that this Brewers team is dangerous in the Central. Maybe not the guaranteed best, but in my eyes, I think they are. I love their two-headed monster of Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff. I think that's really strong. Their bullpen is fantastic. Got two of the best relievers in baseball, and Josh Hader and Devin Williams. They've also got this guy JP Firesen, who's been doing great, and they have all these other arms that you don't even know about. Guys like Brent Suter, who are great. Like, there you have really good pitching now, and they can probably get even more depth by adding maybe a starter or two, maybe at the deadline. On the offensive side, they're a little bit weaker. Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, Jackie Bradley Jr.-ish, and Keston Hiura. Rest positions are a little bit iffy with guys like Luis Urias, Orlando Arcia, Colton Wong, but they've put together a strong team, strong enough to win the NL Central, and I think it's about 13th best in baseball. Another team that I probably have a little bit lower on my rankings than most, at number 12, I'm going with the Toronto Blue Jays. The reason I have the Blue Jays low, guys, is because of the pitching. They just lost Kirby Yates to Tommy John surgery. That's a huge blow. Their bullpen is still not bad. It's still pretty solid. Dolis, Romano, I like those two arms out there, but losing Kirby Yates hurts a lot. And on the starting pitching side, it's Hyun-Jin Ryu, and that's kind of it. I know Matz has looked good this spring, but you can't really rely on Steven Matz. Trust me, from a Mets fan. Nate Pearson's battling injuries. Tanner Roark is a middle of the rotation back end guy. Robbie Ray just got hurt, apparently fell down a flight of stairs or something. The rotation's weak outside of Hyun-Jin Ryu. Now on the offensive side, they can ball out. Gurriel, Springer, Grichuk, Teoscar Hernandez, Bichette, Guerrero, Biggio, Tellez, Alejandro Kirk. I just named 9 guys off a rip that are all really good hitters. So they're going to be able to score runs. It's just on the days where Hyun-Jin Ryu's not pitching, how many are they going to give up? That's what I'm worried about with the Blue Jays. Still close to top 10 team though, at the number 12 spot. And then just missing out on the top 10, coming in at number 11, the Oakland A's. Now the Oakland A's are a weird team to rank because you look at their roster and you go, it's good. Is it the best? No, but I think that's why 11's perfect. They're not a top 10 team in my eyes. They don't necessarily have the starting pitching to be in that top 10, but I like Matt Olson. I like Matt Chapman. I like Mark Canha. He's really good. I really like Sean Murphy. I love Ramon Laureano. Those are 5 really good players on the offensive side. And then on the pitching side, the bullpen's really strong. You added Trevor Rosenthal to fill in for Liam Hendricks. Jake Diekman 6, Sergio Romo, Lou Trevino, JB Wendelken, Yusmeiro Petit, Adam Kolarek. I mean, these are names that you might not be familiar with, but they are really good. It's just that starting rotation. Is Luzardo going to step up? Is Montas going to step up? Is Minaya going to be healthy? Chris Bassett, can you replicate the season we saw last year? A lot of questions, but they're still a good team, and that's why I like them at number 11. Which means it's now time to get the top 10 started, and coming in at the number 10 spot, I got the Tampa Bay Rays. Everyone's sleeping on the Rays, and admittedly, maybe I am too, putting them at number 10. They're the defending American League champions, and while they did get rid of Blake Snell, this team didn't get that much worse. In fact, you can make an argument maybe they're better. Blake Snell wasn't a huge part of the team, let's be honest. He only pitched 4 or 5 innings at most every 5 days. Good player, just wasn't used that much on the Rays. You still have Tyler Glasnow. You still got Yarbrough. Now, you're gonna have to go between Archer, Rich Hill, Michael Wacha, Josh Fleming, Trevor Richards for those last few spots, but Michael Wacha's stuff's been getting better. Rich Hill's a guy who just never seems to get too old. Chris Archer scares me though. Bullpen still filthy, still nasty. Fairbanks, Castillo, Nick Anderson, Ryan Thompson, Chaz Rowe. I mean, the names go on and on. The bullpen's fantastic. And then on the offensive side, you gotta love you some Randy. Austin Meadows is gonna bounce back. Brandon Lau's really good. Margot hitting the playoffs, which is weird. I like Willie Adames, Joey Wendell, Scrappy, G-Man Choi, Yandy Diaz, Francisco Mejia, Mike Brasso. You know they're gonna play the matchups. They're gonna play it smart. The Rays are always gonna be a really competitive team as long as Kevin Cash is there, and they keep doing what they're doing. At the number 9 spot, maybe an aggressive ranking, but I'm going with the Washington Nationals. The more and more I've been looking at the Nationals and been talking about them, the more I'm convincing myself that this is a dangerous team this year. Shouldn't be slept on. I might have been sleeping on them a little bit myself. Pitching-wise, we know that's their main core. You got Strasburg, you got Scherzer, you got Corbin, you added John Lester, and you have Joe Ross. Really, really solid rotation. One of the best in baseball. The bullpen is not great, but I don't think it's bad. I think it might be pretty good. Brad Hand, while there are issues there, still continues to perform well. Tanner Rainey's got really good stuff. Daniel Hudson's not going to be as bad as he was last year. Will Harris is good. Even moving guys like Eric Fetty and Austin Voth, I think, can help them a lot to the bullpen. And then at the plate, you got Juan Soto, one of the best hitters in baseball. Trey Turner, extremely underrated. Kyle Schwarber, Josh Bell, Victor Robles running around center field being a beast defensively. And even a guy like Starlin Castro who puts the ball in play and gets a lot of hits. Along with the bench depth, I like the Nationals a lot. 9th best team in baseball. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm sticking sticking with it. Next up at the number 8 spot, Houston Astros, the team the Nationals beat in the World Series in 2019. Now, the Astros are not as good as they very well could be. Losing Framber Valdez and, of course, not having Justin Verlander is a killer. That hurts so much. But you still got Greinke, you still got McCullers, you still got Urquidy, you got my guy Brandon Bielak, you got Christian Javier. Jake Odorizzi was a good addition. Maybe even a Josh James. I like their pitching. It's good. It's young. Bullpen-wise, Ryan Presley's really strong. Anoli's Cannolis is fantastic. Blake Taylor's really good. Joe Smith is still there. Brooks Raley, Ryan Stanek, Steve Cishek, even Luis Garcia, who looked great. Not to mention Pedro Baez, Andre Scrub, guys who are hurt right now, but good players. And then offensively, the core's still there pretty much, except Springer, Altuve, Bregman, Correa, Gurriel, Yordan Alvarez, Michael Brantley, Kyle Tucker. I mean, it's a good team. This is a very good team. Center field's gonna be weird with Miles Straw, but the Astros are still good. Number 8 overall. Number 7, Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins are a really good team. Maybe I don't think they're as good as some other people, but they are very good and very dangerous. You're a top 7 team in baseball. That is something to say. I think with the Twins, you got to start on the offensive side when you're talking about them. They have major power everywhere. Nelson Cruz at DH, Mitch Garver behind the plate. First base is Sano. Second base, you're going with Jorge Polanco / Arise. Shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. That glove up the middle is going to be huge for them. Huge. Third base, Josh Donaldson. Left field, you go with Larnach, Jake Cave. Center field, Byron Buxton. Right field, Max Kepler. I love their offense. Pitching's where I get a little worried. Kenta Maeda is filthy. Jose Barrios should be better. I'm waiting for him to show us that top of the line stuff. It's still there. He can do it. Just when. But then you got Pineda, Happ, and Shoemaker. And now for the back end of the rotation, those are solid. At least those isn't the front end guys, but they definitely are question marks. And from a bullpen side, I'd love the addition of Alex Colomé. Taylor Rogers is really good. Tyler Duffy is really good. And maybe even a guy like Hansel Robles. This is a strong team. Twins are really good. Number 7 overall. At number 6, just missing out on the top 5, my favorite team, the New York Mets. I know you're probably surprised. Just outside the top 5. They're close. Part of the reason why, they lost Carlos Carrasco right now. He's going to be hurt for a little bit. That hurts their rankings. I think if Carrasco's healthy, that definitely puts them a lot closer to top 5, if not inside of it. But with him hurt, that makes them a weaker team. Of course, you still got DeGrom, you got Stroman, you got Taijuan Walker, you got David Peterson, then you got Lucchesi and or Jordan Yamamoto fighting out for that last spot. Bullpen is improved. You got Edwin Diaz. We're missing Seth Lugo, which is a killer. Trevor May, though, has looked really good. Miguel Castro, Jarius Familia, Aaron Loop, Jacob Barnes. Some nice arms out there. On the offensive side, that's kind of where the Mets almost are their best now, which is weird to say. Nimmo, Dom Smith, Conforto, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, JD Davis, Francisco Lindor, hello? James McCann. Even their bench has great depth now with Luis Guillorme, Kevin Pillar, Albert Almora Jr. I love the way that this Mets team is built. They're really, really good. I think this is a dangerous team, but I won't freak out just yet until the games are played. Once they start playing well, you can expect for the Mets homer bias to come back. Right now, be realistic. I'll put them at number 6. For the 5th best team in Major League Baseball, according to my power rankings, getting the top 5 started, the Atlanta Braves. Everyone's sleeping on the Braves. I don't know why. This Braves team is still really good. This is a Braves team that was 1 game away from beating the Dodgers and going to the World Series last year. They choked. It's just what it came down to. They were up 3-1, I think. Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Marcell Ozuna, Travis d'Arnaud, Dansby Swanson, Christian Pache, Austin Riley. That's a loaded lineup. Depth-wise, not much, but the lineup when healthy is filthy, and that's what we got to think about right now. Starting rotation, you're missing Mike Soroka because of the Achilles injury, but you still got Max Fried. You added Charlie Morton. I love Ian Anderson. He's sick. Drew Smyly, Bryce Wilson, even a guy like Kyle Wright could step in. A lot of young arms available to take those last few spots. Bullpen, I think, is kind of underrated. Tyler Matzik looked great last year. Will Smith is a really good left-handed reliever. Chris Martin was fantastic. Even a guy like Luke Jackson and AJ Minter looked decent at times. I don't think their bullpen's nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. I think they're a top 5 team in baseball. The depth, I get it. The depth from the offensive side is not there, and the pitching is a little young, so people don't think they have depth there either. But right now on paper, this Braves team I think is top 5. Coming in at the number 4 spot, my team to go to the World Series in the American League, the Chicago White Sox. I'm a big fan of this White Sox team. I've been riding the bandwagon since last year. I went there in spring training, just good vibes, good players, and it showed. They made the postseason ahead of schedule, and I think they're going to be ahead of schedule again this year. This is a team that is going to compete. This is a team that might have a lineup that has 7 guys hit 30 or more home runs. Tim Anderson, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Andrew Vaughn. 7 legitimate guys. And then they added Adam Eaton, which is a decent bat. Nick Madrigal, great defense up the middle, hits for a high average. That's their number 9 hitter. It's really good. Rotation, love Lucas Giolito. He's a Cy Young candidate. Dallas Keuchel, solid. Lance Lynn is solid. And then the last 2 guys, Dylan Cease has shown some signs of being really good. And Carlos Rodon is a fine number 5. He has good stuff as well, just hasn't put it together yet. Bullpen, you're looking at Michael Kopech, Liam Hendricks, one of the best relievers in baseball. Aaron Bummer's filthy from the left-hand side. Garrett Crochet's been great. Evan Marshall, Matt Foster, Cody Hoyer. There's not a lot to dislike about this team. The White Sox are really good. I have them as the 4th best in baseball, and I stand by it. Hey, future Mark here. I saw Eloy Jimenez went down with an injury for 5 5 to 6 months. That's a killer to the White Sox. So yes, I just talked about Eloy positively helping this team. Is that going to affect their ranking a little bit? Probably, but I still think they're one of the best teams in the American League. It's unfortunate what happened to Eloy, but there's a chance he comes back. And even still, this White Sox team, I think, is going to be okay. I think they're going to be fine, but unfortunate injury. Number 3 coming in as my highest ranked American League team. You probably could have guessed it. It's going to be the New York Yankees. So we can't talk about the Yankees without talking about their offense, just like kind of every American League team. Every position's loaded. Catcher Gary Sanchez, he's going to be better, let's be honest. I mean, I think he's not great, but he can't be like he was last year, right? Like, he's got to be better. He's got big power. He's shown us time after time he's too good of a hitter to continuously hit like this. First base, Luke Voigt's great. Second base, DJ LeMahieu, MVP candidate. Shortstop, Gleyber Torres. Third base, Gio Urshela. DH, Giancarlo. Left field, Clint Frazier. Center, Aaron Hicks. Right field, Aaron Judge. That's really good. That's really good. And then pitching-wise, you got Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers in baseball. Tyone's pretty solid. Corey Kluber solid. Both coming off injuries, so something to monitor, but they're good pitchers. Luis Severino's going to be coming back at some point from Tommy John. And even a guy like Jordan Montgomery is a really good number 4. Bullpen, of course, one of the best in baseball. Aroldis Chapman, Chad Green. Zach Britton, I know, had surgery, but he'll be back at some point. Darren O'Day, Loaizaga. It's just a good team. It's just a good team. It pains me to say it because I hate the Yankees. I hate the Yankees so much. I want the Mets to be the best team in New York. But right now on paper, it goes to the Yankees. But it's close. And then coming at the number 2 spot, I think you guys know who it's going to be. The second best team in baseball is also the second best team in the National League. That's the San Diego Padres. Padres did unreal things this offseason. You added Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, and Joe Musgrove to a team that was already a World Series contender. They have Mike Clevenger, who's not going to pitch this year because of injury, but you still got Chris Paddock, Nelson Labette, and even Mackenzie Gore's waiting in the wings. Come on now, that starting rotation's insane. Bullpen-wise, Drew Pomeranz and Emilio Pagan in the back end, both really good right-hand, left-handed options. Mark Melanson's there. When did they get Mark Melanson? What? Keone Kayla, Tim Hill, Pierce Johnson, Craig Stammen, Altavilla. Yeah, they've got really good arms. And then on the offensive side, all-star caliber stuff. Austin Nola behind the plate. Hosmer at first, who's fixed his bat. Second base, Jake Cronenworth. Shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., one of the most exciting players in the league. Machado at third. Will Myers, Trent Grisham, Tommy Pham. Really good outfield. And then on the bench, Campusano, Victor Caratini, Ha-Sung Kim, Jurickson Profar, Jorge Mateo. They've got great depth. They got great players. They got great pitching. I love this Padres team. They're second best in baseball. Which leads us to the number 1 team in baseball, the most obvious choice ever, I think. Possibly one of the best rosters we've ever seen on paper constructed. And I'm not talking about all-time Hall of Famer greats like that. I'm talking about in current season based on like the last few years. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Unreal. So you know how they won the World Series last year and their team was ridiculous last year? Well, they added Trevor Bauer this year, who won the Cy Young last year. Why? Why are they so good? Why they gotta be this good? It's unbelievable. Their rotation is gonna be Kershaw, Bauer, Buehler, David Price, and then battling out for the 5th spot, you've got Tony Gonsolin, Julio Urias, and Dustin May. Those are guys who would be towards the top end of many rotations in baseball, and they're fighting for the last spot in the Dodgers rotation. Silly. Literally silly. Bullpen's still very strong. Kenley Jansen, Blake Treinen, Victor Gonzalez. With some of those starters that aren't gonna be there will be in the bullpen. Corey Knebel, even coming off injury, is gonna be someone to watch. Brusdar Graterol, Joe Kelly. Dodgers pitching is good. And then at the plate, let's just go position by position and tell you the all-stars they got. So at catcher, Will Smith, beast. First base, Max Muncy, good. Second base, Gavin Lux and Chris Taylor. Not bad. Probably the weakest position, and that's still pretty good. Shortstop, Corey Seager. Third base, Justin Turner. Left field, you're going AJ Pollock. Center field, Cody Bellinger. Right field, Mookie Betts. And Edwin Rios and Matt Beatty are gonna be on the bench. Edwin Rios rakes. This team is just so ridiculously good. I think if you pick anyone else at the number 1 spot, you're wrong. You're crazy. You're confusing yourself because the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Fact. Period. End of story. So those are my power rankings for the 2021 Major League Baseball season. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Where do you agree with me or where do you disagree with me? I wanted to hear your opinions. Make sure to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel. It really does help support what I do. Follow me on all my social media as well as the podcast. Links to everything in the description. And of course, huge shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.